Everything begins with action. New things come into the world with every age, and ideas come to people who have the strength and courage to implement them energetically. Maybe we are not the ones who have the idea. Maybe the idea finds us, and we merely act as midwives for new realities. The idea seeks and finds people who do things. The doers represent what is new, against all resistance, against many people's inability to understand, against one's own doubts. And this is exactly how it happened. Martin Sixt, a man of action, thinks for a long time about whether or not he should risk doing it. Risk trying to realize something new that has not existed before. It's 1912, a prosperous time full of new beginnings, full of inventions, full of innovations that strip off the 19th century like old clothes that have grown too small. Something new is in the air. Automobiles are beginning to enjoy great success. However, they are still a privilege for the few, and they can only be driven by specialists. But Martin Sixt has a vision. The vision of a mobile society, of people who take control of their own destinies and of the wheels of their cars. Chauffeurs, yes, if comfort is the main priority. But there is a new trend, exemplified by wealthy people in the United States and aristocrats in the United Kingdom. They sit at the wheel themselves to experience the sensation of the speed at first hand. In 1899, the first automobile travels faster than 100 kilometers per hour. And then, in 1908, there is the first auto race around the world, from New York across the United States, through Siberia and Russia, and all the way to Paris. People follow the race enthusiastically. It is an age of discoveries. Amundsen beats Scott in his race to the South Pole. Einstein formulates his general theory of relativity. And Kandinsky, co-founder of the group of artists Der Blaue Reiter, paints the first completely abstract painting. Yes, the world is changing, the old is disappearing behind the horizon, and everyone can see a promising future ahead. Martin Sixt takes action. He has made arrangements with his brother Joseph. Both of them know a lot about cars and can maintain and repair them. Martin buys 3 automobiles, 2 Mercedes cars and a Luxus Deutz Landaulet. Each vehicle costs about 10,000 gold marks, or what would be about 50,000 euros today. The business, Sixt Autofahrten und Selbstfahrer, Sixt Car Trips, the first European car rental company, develops well. Most of the customers are wealthy Englishmen and Americans, and they pay up to 1 gold mark per kilometer, or about 5 euros, without batting an eyelash. And one driver costs 60 euros per day. But this successful enterprise comes to an abrupt halt with the beginning of the First World War. In 1914, vehicles are confiscated by the army. However, Martin Sixt and his wife Rosa don't let this stop them. Rosa opens one of Munich's first coffee houses at 37 Herzog-Rudolf-Straße, now 13 Seitstraße. Soon it becomes a meeting place for Munich's automobile enthusiasts, such as Bugatti specialist Hans Häusler, founder of the aircraft engine factory that bears his name. The earnings and ultimately the sale of the coffee house provide the basis for a new beginning after the First World War has ended. With the help of his brother Joseph's car repair workshop, Martin Sixt converts army cars into luxury rental cars. And at 44 Ismaninger Straße, the brothers commissioned Munich's first gasoline street filling pump following initial concerns on the part of the fire authorities. The 1920s. The golden 20s usher in a new flourishing business for Sixt, despite the inflation. The fleet grows to 15 vehicles. In 1927, Hans Sixt joins the company, where his ideas and energy soon helped the company to achieve new successes. The automobile fits perfectly with the spirit of the roaring 20s. Women present themselves with a new self-confidence and take the wheel. Lindbergh flies across the Atlantic. Jazz and the new attitude toward life come from America. Hans Sixt thinks beyond borders, and he also sees international business as his company's future. Hans Sixt travels to the United Kingdom and establishes business connection with tour operators such as Thomas Cook. His idea bears fruit. More and more wealthy travelers trust Sixt, not only to chauffeur them around Bavaria and Germany, but also across Europe. Hans Sixt's expertise as a trained motor mechanic and electrician led to the acquisition of then state-of-the-art foreign cars such as the 8-cylinder Isotto Fraschini and the large 6-cylinder Renault. The 1930s. In the 1930s, Hans Sixt expands his radius to include the United States. He repeatedly crosses the Atlantic by ship, establishing close ties with American Express. In spite of the Wall Street stock market crash on Black Friday, Sixt continues to develop, specializing in VIP clients. During this decade, the Passion Play in Oberammergau, the 1936 Olympic Games in Berlin and Garmisch-Partenkirchen are not the only attractions that draw visitors to Germany. The Emperor of Japan, the Prince of Wales, Henry Ford, and other prominent Americans are driven by Sixt. But the policies of Hitler's National Socialists drive Germany further and further into isolation. Tourism and the car rentals that arise from it grind to a halt. And when the war begins in 1939, the Wehrmacht confiscates the vehicles. Taking a serious risk, Hans Sixt hides one lost car in a barn, a 7-seat Mercedes Landaulet. The 1940s. While Hans Sixt was held as a prisoner of war for a short time after he served on the front line, his wife Erika gives birth to their only son, Erich Sixt, in 1944. When Hans Sixt returns to Munich, the company's building is burned out and Martin Sixt is dead. The new start rests on his shoulders. He establishes Auto Sixt with exactly the same Mercedes 230 that he had hidden in the barn. But thanks to his contacts from the 1930s in the United States, his efforts soon led to an amazing success story. In 1946, with the help of the US military government, he founds the US Business Motor Pool with 10 vehicles. Things proceed rapidly from there. Hans Sixt helps his company achieve unforeseen levels of success. Soon he has 1,750 vehicles in the US-occupied zone and is able to record annual sales of $8 million, an astonishing figure for the time. As early as 1948, Erika Sixt organizes a press tour with journalists from all over the world in which they are taken around Bavaria's most attractive towns. The tour is so successful that Erika Sixt is invited to the Rockefeller Center in New York to take part in the first German export show as a representative of the German economy. The 1950s. Sixt also contributes to the German economic miracle of the 1950s. And Auto Sixt is always at least a nose ahead in terms of technology. Sixt taxis are the first to use voice radios. These devices are imported from the United States. In 1950, in the heart of Munich, a central garage and a large gas station are constructed in the latest architecture. Auto Sixt on Lehnbachplatz thereby becomes a focal point for drivers in Munich. Hans Sixt is one of the first German businessmen to visit car factories and trade fairs in the USA. Stars of the era like Elizabeth Taylor and Kirk Douglas put their trust in Sixt when they visit Germany. Officials on state visits and leading industrialists from families such as Krupp von Bohlen-Halbach, Siemens and Flick enjoy being driven in Sixt's best cars. For example, the Mercedes 600 Pullman with a long chassis or the 9-seat Chrysler DeSoto. The fleet now comprises 45 vehicles. The 1960s. In the 1960s, the company experiences a further sharp upward trend. A premium fleet is developed that has no equal in Germany. The first airport branches open in Frankfurt and Munich. But that's not all. Thanks to its American partners, the business also expands to Paris, where the young Erich Sixt, the son of Hans and Erika Sixt, works successfully to develop the business. The company begins its expansion into additional European countries. Once again, American travelers come across luxury cars, particularly Mercedes, at major European ports where they still arrive via luxury liners. At the end of the 1960s, Sixt enters the leasing business, a trailblazing effort in Europe. In 1969, representing the third generation of the Sixt family, Erich Sixt begins to manage the company. His efforts in the leasing business led to success on an unforeseen scale. Top companies like Siemens, Krauss-Maffei, Avon, and even the city of Munich put their trust in the new business model and are soon giving Sixt orders for hundreds and thousands of cars. In the decade that gives us the moon landing, developments at Sixt offer the inducement for bold international and global visions. The 1970s. With the 1970s, the age of computers begins to become relevant for more and more people. The first video and computer games appear on the market. Technology becomes small and manageable, as the Walkman demonstrates. Disco music is a great success. The Summer Olympics take place in Munich. The Vietnam War draws to a close, and there are car-free Sundays in Germany because of the oil crisis. The rapid rate of success also continues unabated in the 1970s for Sixt. In 1970, the fleet begins to include trucks. Another milestone is Regine Sixt's entry into the company. Since her marriage to Erich Sixt, she has been the driving force behind international marketing. Cooperative efforts that she initiates with important airlines and hotel chains create new business connections all over the world. The The company continues to expand. The first airport branches are established in 1974 in Frankfurt, Hamburg, and Düsseldorf. And cooperation with international partners makes it possible for Sixt to offer rental cars worldwide for the first time. The 1980s. In the 1980s, the technological revolution continues unabated. Personal computers and cell phones start to become popular. Michael Jackson and Madonna can be heard on ghetto blasters. Wall Street is booming, and Michael Douglas is a role model of the era as Gordon Gekko in the film of the same name. Margaret Thatcher pushes a neoliberal agenda. And with Perestroika and Glasnost, Mikhail Gorbachev heralds an unexpected political turnaround. Regine and Erich Sixt are expecting their second child. Konstantin is born in 1982, following their first child, Alexander, born in 1979. Sixt rapidly picks up speed again in the 1980s. The leasing business continues to expand with the help of a strong partner, Dresdner Bank's Disco Group. Regine Sixt concludes contracts with the most important tour operators and signs the first international exclusive contract with Pan Am. She also initiates successful cooperation with national tourist offices and the travel departments of large companies. In 1983, Erich Sixt initiates a legendary campaign to win new clients, particularly from the business sector, striking fear into the hearts of competitors. The advertisement, a Mercedes for the price of a Golf, becomes a big hit. In a short period of time, thousands of Mercedes E190 are purchased and successfully leased. Drive first class, but only pay for economy. This slogan positions Sixt as an uncontested premium supplier. From 1985 in particular, Sixt focuses on the business travel market and develops a revolutionary service strategy. The number of employees grows rapidly during this decade, and for the first time, there are more than 30 stations in Germany. Then the big step forward. Hans Sixt successfully takes the company public in 1986. Sixt AG is now highly valued by investors all over the world. Due to these new opportunities, Sixt begins a massive international expansion. The company now also has its own credit card program. And to focus on its commitment to auto leasing, Sixt Leasing GmbH is founded in 1988. 1989 brings the event of the decade. The Berlin Wall falls. Sixt reacts right away, becoming the first rental company to open a station in East Berlin immediately thereafter. The 1990s. The 1990s are the big decade in terms of networking. Internet and email are invented. GPS and Dolly the clone sheep herald the future. Suddenly, the new economy stock valuations overtake those of long-established firms. The so-called Generation Golf dominates as opinion leaders. It's the Clinton era, and following the rapid transformation of the former Eastern Bloc, apartheid in South Africa draws to an end thanks to Nelson Mandela. The step-upward trend continues in the 1990s. Over the course of the decade, the the fleet grows from 14,000 vehicles to just under 40,000. And the world's largest fleet of Mercedes now belongs to Sixt. Sixt becomes and remains Germany's market leader as of the early 1990s. A strength international expansion begins in 1996. And with Sixt businesses on site in Switzerland, Austria, France, Spain, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Belgium, an aggressive expansion of the European market is underway. At the same time, Sixt starts to develop an international franchise network. Israel is first, followed quickly by Italy, Ireland, Greece, Hungary, and the first North African countries. There are now more than 1,000 Sixt stations in Europe. Sixt even expands strongly in former Eastern Bloc countries, opening stations as far away as Moscow. The vacation rental car market, ultimately offered in more than 50 countries, is now also growing strongly. In Germany, Sixt further strengthens its advantage as market leader and makes the whole country smile with its proverbially succinct advertising. Another important step forward is cooperation with Lufthansa as a preferred partner, and Sixt becomes part of the Miles & More program. But soon, Air France, KLM, United, and El Al are added too. Sixt now has a presence at all German ICE train stations. It also starts its Car Express service and Sixt Self-Service, the first of its kind in the world. An international call center in Rostock, receiving more than 10,000 calls a day, facilitates reservations. Since 1995, it has also been possible to reserve cars via the internet. Once again, this makes Sixt a pioneer in Germany, and the company's growing global presence is expressed in a new sharpened brand appearance designed by Regine Sixt. 2000 to the present. The new millennium takes great technological strides. Social networks appear on the internet, as do open source platforms such as Wikipedia and WikiLeaks. And smartphones ensure the digital world can be accessed whenever and wherever. And with the likes of YouTube, online images also learn how to move. September 11 shocks the world and leads to the War on Terror. Johannes Paul II is succeeded by a pope from Bavaria, Benedict XVI. But for his fans, the death of Michael Jackson also comes as a tragedy. A unified Europe experiences economic highs and lows with the euro. And as Southern Europe in particular comes under economic pressure, and the Occupy movement becomes a talking point in the Western industrialized nations. The BRICS nations, above all China, India, and Brazil, are celebrating economic success. At Sixt, the new millennium begins with a gift to the world. Drying Little Tears is the motto of Regine Sixt's Children's Aid Organization, providing assistance to children who suffer from poverty and disease in more than 20 countries around the world. Nowadays, helping in all 105 Sixt countries. Since 2000, Sixt has been the leading leasing provider for all mobility solutions, with a presence on every continent and in 105 nations. In this decade, special emphasis is being placed on the digital world. Not only is Sixt the first car rental company to make it possible to rent vehicles by smartphones, which began in 2008. 2000 saw the debut of Sixt, an e-commerce platform focusing on cars and travel. And Autohaus24.de represents another addition to the online presence. With 60, the company established a low-cost brand. Worldwide cooperative efforts with airlines, hotel chains, and bonus programs accelerate the successful trend at Sixt. Alexander und Konstantin Sixt enter the Sixt company. Konstantin Sixt takes on the management of the e-commerce department. Alexander Sixt drives the corporate strategy and initiates visionary projects such as the car-sharing program Drive Now, a joint venture with their partner BMW Group. This means that Sixt's fourth generation has successfully established itself. Sixt conquers the land of opportunity, the United States of America. The company is perfectly situated worldwide. Now, in 2012, Sixt is celebrating 100 successful years in which a great dream has become reality. But this has only been possible thanks to the unbelievable dedication of all employees, whose drive together to bring about this unparalleled success day in, day out, and year on year. Saying a huge thank you to them is not only the order of the day, but something close to the hearts of all 4 generations of Sixt. Thank you, danke, grazie, merci, grazie. And now, the new Sixt century can begin.